listening to the Warrensburg Tigers Basketball Podcast. Now here's your host, Sean Long.
Well, good morning, Tiger basketball fans. You know, a little bit of a fall. We had some really vibrant colors. Temperatures weren't really what we wanted, but we've had a couple snowfalls. We got Thanksgiving coming up next week. Hard to believe. And I've even heard some Christmas songs on the radio, as crazy as that is. So, you know, that points to one thing. It's one of the best times of the year. It's time for basketball. The NBA is off to a flying start. College hoops. You know, we were just in the gym the other day with Mac and TK and P and Coach B and Coach Nimmo and I, and just talking about whose team could do what and kind of the talents that are out there. And Coach K's got the Mules off to a 3-0 start after their win over a hot shooting Jewel team last night. So Tiger basketball is right around the corner. And today I'm sitting down with Coach Nimmo. He's going to give us his thoughts. We got Coach B on the board here. We're trying this podcast out, something a little different. We did a video interview last year, and you know we want to bring the Tiger fans something different. We got a lot of followers on our Facebook page, and you know we're going to see what you think about this little podcast. So, Coach, you got 10 days till the season starts. Good morning.
Good morning. It's a good time to be here after practice, and always good to talk to our very faithful followers.
Well, Coach, you said that you just got done with practice this morning. A lot of skills, things you worked on, so it was a good practice. Some things that I don't think a lot of people realize is how much work goes into the off season. Seems like it wasn't that long ago we walked off the floor at P Hill, playing against Grandview, and I think a lot of people probably think that, okay, that's it until November comes around, and then it's time to get in the gym and get after it. As I understand it, Misha gives you a certain number of days of contact in the month of June. And I think it would be good just to tell the Tiger fans out there, you know, the importance of June, how you measure success during that time.
Sean, you're exactly right. They do give us days during June, really over the summer. We have 20 days from the time we get out of school until the dead week in August, kind of right before fall sports start, that we can work with our kids. Those 20 days do not involve the weight room. The weight room, you can be in the weight room as much as you'd like, except for dead periods. Our school, we always take a dead period over the 4th of July weekend. It's 9 consecutive days, so it includes 2 weekends. And we try to take use of all 20 of those days. We spend equal parts on individual development. Team camps, shootouts are a part of that. We try to challenge our kids as much as we can. We play a very challenging, demanding schedule during that time. It's rarely the same, but some of it is. We made a trip to Belleville, Illinois, saw lots of athleticism, saw numerous D1 prospects. You know, it's a great time for our kids to see lots of things, different styles, different philosophies. And you ask about measuring success. Well, success is just on how much you're getting better. With lack of scouting, all your inbounds plays work. A lot of your sets work, but it's an idea of seeing that this works. We like the way this fits our personnel. This really doesn't work. So for our coaching staff, Coach Bradfish, Coach Nadine, and I, it's a little bit of time to experiment. It's a chance to experiment with different players. Players have conflicts. We have a number of baseball players, a number of football players, and we do have some guys that are just basketball players. Those things get in the way a little bit, but it's a great time getting a lot of kids in the mix, and it's a great tool to evaluate. So the number one thing that we measure is, are we getting better individually?
Yeah, you talk about playing over in Belleville. I think a lot of the players will never forget the opportunity to take the floor against the Ohio State. E.J. Liddell, he was quite a handful. So you talk about different players playing different sports. The guys that came out, was there anybody that stepped their game up? I know there was a lot of young guys getting opportunities to play. Anybody or players that showed you something over the summer that you really expect them to continue into the season?
We have a number of returners coming back, and yes, they all looked really good. Players catching our eye. We had a number of sophomores in particular and some juniors over the summer that had really good off seasons for us. Shelby Pitzenbarger had a great off season. Eli Nappy had a great off season. Brooks Baldwin had a great summer and has had an even better fall. Caleb Martin is much improved. Cooper Berry had a great summer for us. You know, we're missing a few kids who've had great falls. Trevor Key has been outstanding in the early parts of our season. We have a lot of kids in our mix right now that we're really excited about.
So we've had 3 weeks of practice. You had your jamboree this past week. I know you're never satisfied with what you get out of a practice because you always want just a little bit more, because that's what anybody wants to strive for. What do you think the tempos, work that you're getting out of the guys in practice? And with that said, the football program had a fantastic fall as well. Several guys are going to be getting back into the gym here in the next week. So just talk about how practices have been so far and what you're looking for moving forward as you add some of those key varsity spots.
We are off to a good start. Thrilled with our seniors, thrilled with some of our underclassmen, but it's been a different start to the season without the football guys. We love the success that they've had, and we know that some of that success is going to carry over to our program. Young men learning to win is so important, and we know that those football guys are going to carry that over. Kind of where we thought we might be with football going that way. It's given some of our guys who are not football players a great opportunity to show what they can do. And we're thrilled to death that we're going to be getting our guys back within the next week. Would have been just fine if they would have continued. Definitely, we had great support with our basketball guys at the football game last night, too. I rode the Spirit Bus with several of them that were really stoked and excited about basketball teammates out there. They had a great showing last night. Unfortunately, things didn't go the way that any of us wanted, but that's life. And a lot of those underclassmen that we talked about making great impressions over the summer had a great fall, and even though they haven't had a basketball in their hands like some of our other guys, they're going to take right up where they left off, and they're going to be better without touching a basketball because they're growing up and they're learning how to compete and how to win.
Yeah, Chris, I agree with that. I mean, just the mental toughness that a lot of those guys are going to have experienced this fall on the football field is going to definitely carry over onto the hardwood. So look forward to seeing them in the gym and seeing what happens next. So, last year's season, we had a good year. We had 16, 17 wins. But looking at that, you lose 5 seniors. You lose 45% of your scoring output, including your leading scorer, Dalton Nappy, who is going to be playing football. He redshirted this year for the Mules. Certainly going on. The future's bright for Dalton on the gridiron. So any concerns about replacing that kind of output? Another thing going with that, you kind of lead right into is expectations for this year. What the fans are going to expect to see on the floor, and who are they going to be looking for when they come out to Tiger Gym or on the road to watch our guys play?
Sean, we did lose 5 outstanding seniors, and they were all 5 outstanding young men who did a great job of representing our program. You mentioned Dalton. He had a fantastic year last year, did everything for us, was easily one of our best defenders, led us in scoring, was second in rebounding. Cade Peterson also had a phenomenal year. They're both big losses. However, we think we have some guys coming back who've had to play in their shadow a little bit last year in particular, who are ready to excel. We have another outstanding group of seniors. Assuming everybody got through football without injuries, we're going to have 8 young men who are seniors who we're going to count on for leadership, and they're the same type of young men as far as being outstanding, not just on the floor, but off of it as well. Luke Mackey's our returning point guard. This will be his 4th year as a varsity player, 3rd year starting. We're going to take him off the ball a little bit at times, more than likely, that looking for him to score a little bit more. Peyton Long is a returning starter who, without a doubt, one of our most improved players. Luke Landwehr is a 3-year returning starter who missed part of last year with injury, but he's much better. He's grown a little bit, and his all-around game has continued to grow. Zach Reed is a returning big man who we're thrilled to death, had a tremendous end of the football season, went from not playing a whole lot to being one of their more reliable defensive players. And, the toughness that he demonstrated over the last part of that football season, we know is going to carry over. And, if he's going to be tough inside, he's going to be an absolute load for a lot of people. Ajay Sheridan will be back. Wasn't with us last year, but started on and off as a sophomore. Jason Levine had an outstanding year as our quarterback for the football team. Great leader. Andrew Duhamel's back. It's hard to believe that a kid can take off a couple years and come back and not have missed a beat. And Andrew's much better now than he ever was when he was playing full-time. And he brings that toughness factor a little bit. Not a football player, but has a football background as well. And Ross Kostomski is our last senior, just an outstanding young man who's really, really worked on his game this fall.
Yeah, you talk about our seniors and, the 2-year layoff that Dewey's had. Can't tell it. He does the little things that aren't going to show up every night in the box score, but the other guys that are going to be on the floor with him are certainly going to appreciate the little things he's going to do. So, this year we're moving over out of the West Central Conference, which I believe is no longer. We're in the Missouri River Valley. So, obviously, we're going to be looking to have some new rivalries. There's going to be some new travel plans and so forth, some which aren't quite as long, which will be nice. Just briefly, your thoughts on the teams that are in the Missouri River Valley Conference.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the change. A great conference that we left and a great conference that we're entering into. We're really looking forward to the switch to the Missouri River Valley Conference. We loved our time in the West Central Conference. West Central Conference was really good to us, always prepared us for different styles, great teams, great athleticism. I mean, zero disrespect to the West Central Conference, MRVC Conference. Every single night, we see great coaches. We're going to see great styles. The preparation from those coaches is outstanding. We played Pleasant Hill for years. They are always very well prepared, do as well a job taking away stuff from us as anybody. The same for Oak Grove. Coach Mercer at Harrisonville has been there for a long time and is an outstanding coach, and Echoes as well. Coach Wright at Excelsior Springs was at Pius for a long time and always hated playing his teams because they take stuff away from you. And Odessa has a new coach, but he's got a great background. And, it's one of those that every single night you're going to see great coaches. And they're great coaches in the West Central Conference. Maybe we're not going to see quite the athleticism on a nightly basis, but it's a different beast.
I myself am looking forward to, like you said, going new places, seeing new teams, seeing different styles, and it'll be interesting as just a fan of Warrensburg Tiger basketball to see how the rivalries form over the years to come.
And it's not like we are not still going to see the teams in the WCC. Of 6 teams that were in the conference, we're still playing 4 of them, I believe. That they make up the majority of our non-conference schedule. We still play Center. We still play Clinton. We still play St. Pius, who we open up with, and we still have Smith Cotton, and I imagine that will remain a rivalry. Think maybe in the coming years that will dwindle a little bit as they join a new conference, and we do, but the proximity of those schools still make them natural rivals and so forth. So we're still looking forward to all of that.
So one of the games that's on our schedule here is it's a very important game. I did a little bit of research, and over 500,000 people pass away every year due to cancer. And I know for my family, we lost my dad a year ago to the disease, and it's just an outstanding opportunity for the Tigers to be able to compete. However you look at this, December 1st, December 2nd, it's going to be a midnight tip, Saturday night to Sunday morning in Columbia at Columbia College, where we get to participate in the Norm Stewart Classic, 48 hours of basketball. We're taking on the Spartans of Moberly. Tell us a little bit about this event.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that Norm Stewart is definitely a legend within our state, and he's also the founder of Coaches versus Cancer, a huge organization that throughout the years has raised and donated millions of dollars to cancer research. Coach Stewart himself is a cancer survivor, and if you know anything about the history of basketball in Missouri, Norm Stewart's right at the top, was a tremendous player at the University of Missouri and easily the winningest coach in the history of the University of Missouri. So I know everyone listening, as well as everyone sitting here, Coach Bradfish, Sean, yourself, and myself, we know people who have lost the battle with cancer. We have people in our school who have succeeded fighting cancer and so forth. It's a really neat event. It's 48 hours of hoops. It starts on Friday night, I believe at 6, and runs through Sunday night at 6. 48 hours. Games are streamed through ESPN3. We do play at midnight for our kids. I think they're excited about that. They've never played that late. For our fans, it's something different. We're going to make it a weekend. We are headed down. We'll leave Saturday. We're going to catch the Mizzou game. They play at home on Sunday. A really neat event. Moberly, a team that if we see again would be in the postseason. A very quality team. Coach Hagedorn does a great job. Our players used to do camps with a lot of the Moberly kids. There's familiarity. in the opponent. A lot of our guys have played Moberly guys in their spring ball, in their fall ball a little bit, but a great event supporting a tremendous cause.
Our team that Tyler, my older son, coaches, we've run across several of their players this year throughout the state when we played in our spring and fall ball. So looking forward to that event. There will be some information to come on our Tiger Facebook page for a free throw challenge that we're going to be doing. Just an opportunity for people that want to either sponsor a kid per shot or just make a donation that goes to fight cancer. So be watching our Facebook page. I'll have more information on that once it becomes available. So, I'm going to kind of give some key dates here as we wrap up, but the schedule is out. It's a tough schedule like you alluded to. Are there any games that, or tournaments or stuff that you just look forward to, whether it's getting away, it's playing a certain coach? Because coaches are going to probably listen to this and they'll want to know, hey, Chris Nimmo there in Warrensburg's looking forward to the game against me. So just your thoughts on the schedule.
I think, as always, we have a very challenging schedule. This is probably cliche, but we look forward to every game. Every game is an opportunity for us to improve. Every game is an opportunity for our players to show this, show that, etc. We always look forward to our trip over Christmas to Rolla. We think it's a great time for us to do a lot of team building, team bonding. We get to spend 2 days in a hotel where our kids get to interact almost for 24 hours. They get to interact with us as coaches for 24 hours and so forth. With our schedule, it's brand new. Yes, we have some of the same teams we've played for years, but Clinton's no longer in our conference. Smith Cotton is no longer in our conference. And we have brand new conference coming in. And the coaching world is very small. A lot of people we play against are people that I consider friends and definitely colleagues. We share a lot of information. And Coach Bradfish and I, a number of coaches on our schedule, we work camps with over the summer, and we chat through text or calls throughout. So, and of course, then we still have our traditional rivals that we're looking forward to as well.
Yeah, you talk about Rolla. You guys all have a good time, but I do know this: when it's time to head back for the Berg, you are ready for those guys to get to their parents and get back to the Berg. So just a little fun there. So one thing that we just found out, I think 2 weeks ago, is our district is changing this year. Last year, I think as a parent and an observer, we played our best game of the year against Harrisonville. We shared it well, we shot it well, and then we had a rough go the next night against who would end up being a Class 4 state champion, Grandview, on another level. I know Peyton and I got a chance to see him, I think, 6 times. You and Coach K were down at state where we watched them play, and I think their state championship game, they just showed everybody how good they were and took over that game. But new district, what are your thoughts on the district action that will be in Class 4 District 10 this year?
Well, you mentioned the Grandview team. This is my 26th year of coaching, and I've never seen a better team than the Grandview team that we played against, and that includes a lot of Class 5 schools who are really, really good. They had everything. And I know that they're still really good again this year, having lost some really good players, including 2 D1 kids and then another D1 football player. Change in district, we think is good for us. It's going to allow us to see teams that we don't see on a normal basis. I know sometimes you get into a district. We've been in a district with Pleasant Hill and Clinton, I believe, every single year that I've been here. And this is the 14th year for that. So we're seeing new teams. With those teams in general, with us playing Pleasant Hill already twice with the new conference, with our old conference playing Clinton twice already, when you go play that team for the third time, it makes it difficult on both ways. And I think in today's society and just kids in general, you want change. You want to see different teams. It helps keep things fresh, helps you keep you motivated, and all of that. We're going the opposite direction, a direction that, to my knowledge, Warrensburg hasn't went in a long, long time, if ever. That doesn't mean it's an easier district, because it's not. Helias is traditionally one of the 5 best programs in Class 4, if not higher than that. Really good coaches in our conference. It's the same thing with coaches in our district. It's going to be a tough road. Like with all of our games, we think we can compete against everybody on our schedule.
I'm going to wrap up with something for you, and then, like I said, I'll give you some dates. I'm going to give you 5 things. So I give you these words, and you tell me the first thing or phrase that comes up to your mind. So the first one is clutch.
Well, Coach Bradfish is sitting next to me. I know he's thinking Michael Jordan. He and I go back and forth with those things, but I'm going to mention 2 other guys that kind of went back and forth who, probably need to be said in the same breath with those 2. And I'm going to mention Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
So we talk about clutch, and you kind of went with this where I was hoping. So now then there's always the banter and the discussions and downright, Cody's laughing now, downright arguments, the GOAT.
Well, Coach Bradfish is definitely going to say MJ. And I truly cannot argue against that, but I will say that there's never been a player like LeBron, and it's amazing how much he has lived up to the hype in our social media world when he had it from day one, and Michael and players before him had none of that. So they're both absolutely incredible. I just appreciate watching them both. And I know that's a cop-out answer, but it's so hard. They're just different. The way that they play, their style, they're different, and I hope basketball purists truly enjoy both of them.
And I have to say, while we're sitting here, Coach B does have on a D Rose Chicago Bulls shirt, so he's showing his Windy City love.
He's got a few problems with him. You know, he grew up in the state of Illinois, and Bulls fan, I get it. I would have been too if I would have grown up there, but I still can't get over the Cubs.
Okay, so we had a little bit of fun with those first two words. So my next word is going to be fun.
Just spending time with our guys, especially off the court. We love our players. We push them in practice, push them in games. That's not necessarily a fun time, but just seeing the interactions and the relationships that you build with those young men. Best things we did all summer is we went to Jeff City and did some fundamental stuff with Jeff City High School, and Coach Anderson down there is a great friend of Coach Bradfish and myself. And then we went to the Lake of the Ozarks and we camped out. We picked an awful day to go. We had a big old thunderstorm. It was bad timing on some of our parts. Some of our young men took their bags out as they set up tents, and they had to wear wet clothes for that night and the next morning, next day when we came home. But it was just fun seeing the team bonding, team building. We had a great experience with our players down there, and that was one of the most fun things we did all summer and something we will definitely do in the years to come.
So you talk about that camping trip. Mr. P, he still has a pair of shoes that he wore at that trip that are in the back end of a pickup truck that he goes, I'm never wearing those again. That was bad. Two more for you. The next one is success.
I'm going to base it based on our team. It's just getting better each and every day. We talk a lot about the process, and the process means that you try to be better tomorrow than you were today, and that's success. Success comes in so many different ways, and sometimes success is simply viewed on wins and losses. Sometimes those things are not completely out of your control. A lot of times you may play great defense, and the guy throws up a shot and he banks it off the glass, something he was not intending to do. So in the grand scheme of things, you may not be successful on that possession, and if a team has a really lucky shooting night, you may be on the opposite end that you want to in the victory column. But success, just striving to be better on an everyday basis.
So my last question is tell Tiger fans something that's on your bucket list.
When I retire, going and following the Mizzou Tigers and seeing them play on the road in each of the SEC football stadiums and basketball stadiums. I think that would be something that would be really neat to do, one or two a year, and just follow the Tigers and enjoy a little trip here and there. I think most of them are within driving distance. Yeah, Florida and a few of them, you may have to get on a plane, but a long weekend, that's part of my bucket list.
You just got to make sure that you don't let Kelly wear any of that Jayhawk stuff when you do that. Appreciate your time, Chris. Cody, I appreciate you pushing the buttons and making us sound better than we really are. So some dates that I want all the Tiger fans out there to remember is Pius is coming up on November 27th. Opportunity to go tip things off against a team that we're fairly familiar with. They lost some big parts to their program last year, but we know they will reload, they will be ready to go, and they will be a tough opening night performance for us. We talked about the December 2nd game versus Moberly. December 7th, I think it's a Friday night. I could be wrong, but I think it's a Friday night. Make that 30-minute trek over to the east, and let's keep the rivalry going with Smith Cotton. Be a lot of fun for several of our guys because we did have Christian Finley played on our Yellow Jacket team, so there's some friendships that have been built over the summers between Luke P. and Christian, so always good when those guys can get to go up against each other. Home opener, December 11th against Clinton, so another familiar foe to us. Get out and let's pack the gym. And one that last year was kind of a disappointment to me is, Lot Speech Motors, Bob Lot Speech. Folks, they don't get any better than Tiger Bob. What he does for this program, what he does for Warrensburg Tigers, Lady Tigers, we can only be so lucky to have him do everything he does. And the Lot Speech Shootout is going to be on Saturday, December 15th. The Tigers are tipping, I think, at 7:30 that night. We're playing Versailles. We played Versailles the last 2 years in a home and an away. Let's get people out there. Let's get excited. Let's let these guys hear us and have some fun with it. And then the other one that we're working on is December 18th against Harrisonville. I'm trying to pull together a youth night for that night. So we want to get all the area youth to get into the game and have some fun supporting these guys. They're working their tails off, hoping for a good season, and just let's get the excitement going. There's a lot of excitement in Warrensburg for what Coach Cav and his football team did this year. Let's keep that school spirit going, and let's have a good rest of the winter, a 2018-19 basketball season. Follow us on our Facebook page, Warrensburg Tigers Men's Basketball. We're also on Twitter. I appreciate everybody's time. Coach, thank you so much. Go Tigers.
Thank you for listening to the Warrensburg Tigers Basketball Podcast. Hope to see you this season.